Hey, what is up, guys? This is Bo, or Carl Hungus712, and yeah, it has been a while since I've uploaded a commentary, but I figured with the Infinite Warfare beta coming out either late tonight or early tomorrow, I'd give you guys my review of Black Ops 3. I'm going to do this in two parts. The first part's going to be what I think Black Ops 3 did wrong, and then I'm going to close out with what I think Black Ops 3 did right, and kind of moving forward, what to expect from the new Call of Duty, what Treyarch might need to do on their next game, and my next video I'll actually give the overall review, on a 1 to 10 scale or whatever, of what I think of Black Ops 3 in general. This gameplay here is obviously Black Ops 2. Junior and I played this the other night. We had a run-in with Eros 3D. That was that player I made a video about a few months back when he was kind of messaging me, screwing with me, saying that I was just a terrible player and all I do is camp all game. I guess he doesn't realize you don't run and gun with assault rifles, and that's typically what I use. I do move around the map. Do I camp sometimes? Hell yeah, I do. It's just a smart way of playing, and but like I said, I don't do it all the time, and as you guys know from my gameplays, it's not really what I do, but I really don't care. It's just kind of funny when a guy joins your lobby, gets mad at you, and I think we beat him 8 or 9 straight games, and then he finally quit, and then I think he joined in. I think this was the one he joined in on and then quit again. So, great player, just needs to learn that there are different styles of play in Call of Duty. But getting back to Black Ops 3 here, to start off with, number one problem, or one of the first problems with the game, frame rate problems. Now, this is something I didn't have happen until the very end of the game, and I'm sure some of you guys ran into this problem too, but I noticed in a lot of games, especially now, even when I get on Black Ops 3 and play, the game it seems like it lags constantly, and it's not lag, it's just frame rate lag. If you guys don't know, you can always look that up too, just to kind of see what it looks like, to see what I'm talking about, but the game's just kind of glitchy as you move around. It's not as smooth as it was when the game first came out. And, I don't know if that happened because of all the patches that Black Ops 3 put into the game just repeatedly. And if you patch one thing, it ruins 3 or 4 other things. I'm not for sure because I don't have a degree in that sort of thing. But that's just one of the big problems I've noticed with Black Ops 3 is that, we have these frame rate problems constantly over and over again. And they just never seem to be patched or fixed. And that was one of the big issues to start off with Black Ops 3. Number 2, lag and patch issues. Now, this kind of goes with the frame rate issues as well, but when the game first came out, the first month or two, I think Black Ops 3 was one of the smoothest running games of any Call of Duty I've ever played. It was really smooth. It was buttery smooth, that game. But it seemed like every patch after patch after patch, there just seemed to be more issues, more lag problems. And like I said, I think that might have something to do with all the patches they put into the game. But like I said, I'm not for sure. I don't know if that is something that's normal. The more patches you add to the game, the more fixes you do, it screws some other things up. I'm not for sure, but that was one of the unfortunate things in Black Ops 3 that I think hurt the game quite a bit, considering that I think Black Ops 3 had the potential to be one of the top tier Call of Duties. And I don't think it was that bad of a game, but like I said, you'll see my overall review later on. In-game balancing, number 3. I think this was a huge thing in Black Ops 3. I don't think there was skill-based matchmaking in the game. I think there was some skill-based matchmaking in the game when it first came out, because I know Vandahar said they made some tweaks to that. It wasn't like Advanced Warfare by any means, but when it came to lobby balancing, it just seemed like there were so many cases where if you had a good win-loss or a pretty good KD, basically the rest of your team was just terrible. They just couldn't do anything. And I understand, I was there at one point too, and I don't get mad about that, but when you're the only guy on your team that's somewhat positive, and let's say I finish a game 40 and 30 or something because I die a lot. Let's say I finish 40 and 30. The next closest guy on my team has 5 kills. And that happens probably 8 times out of 10. And the other 2 times or matches I join midway, that kind of gets to be frustrating and makes it tough to enjoy the game. And that was one thing that I hope that we don't see in future Call of Duties, Now, I'm not saying that, we need to put powerhouse teams together and all the crap players together. Obviously not. But let's, maybe make it a little bit more random than what they're doing. Launchers and streaks, another thing I had a problem with in Black Ops 3. Now, I think the streaks, they ended up buffing quite a bit. Look at that quad feed there. But I think they ended up buffing the streaks to make them much better, which they should have. They really should have, because during the beta, I don't think the streaks were that great. And I think over time, after a couple of patches, the streaks ended up being pretty decent, which I think this was one of the better games for kill streaks, not one of the best. I think Black Ops 2 still had the best kill streaks, the most balanced. Let me just say that, most balanced kill streaks. But with the launchers in the game and the specialists in the game, you were able to take down streaks almost immediately. I can't tell you how many times I had Raps called in, or a Wraith called in, or even a Cerberus called in. And about 2 EMPs and not even 2 EMPs, but, just a couple of EMPs or one of the rocket launchers, the Black Cell, and before you know it, you got your streak called in 4.5 seconds later. Be advised, your Wraith has been destroyed, something like that. And it was kind of annoying because it really, I think it hurt the game and made it much less fun when you did have games where you were going off and playing really well. Next problem, DLC weapons and supply drops. Now, obviously, this was probably the biggest issue with Black Ops 3 was the supply drops. They made it very random. And I think if those weapons would have been given to everybody, it would have made the game a little bit more exciting. It made you want to play the game a little bit longer. Now, most Call of Duties, obviously, the old ones, they didn't have DLC weapons. But the game just in general was much more exciting. I think with the advanced movement and some of the other problems with the game, I think giving those DLC weapons to everybody would have basically breathed some fresh air into the game. And I think more people would have played Black Ops 3 longer than what they did, because now, even when I get on, the other night Kenny and I tried jumping into a team deathmatch game. It took us about 20 minutes before we got actually a few people in the lobby, and then they all exited the game anyways. So I think the supply drop weapons, the DLC weapons, I think that was a big problem. Map designs, I think, was another problem. Obviously, the maps were designed for the advanced movement, but I think most of the maps in general were below average, just the feel of them. Like I said, with Black Ops 3, there weren't really any maps that... I guess when I think of maybe 2 years away here, let's say we get 2 Call of Duties in, we get past Infinite Warfare, and we get to Sledgehammer's game. I think you're going to look back on Black Ops 3, and you're not really going to see any unique maps that made you want to come back and play the game. Like Black Ops 2, for example, you have Standoff, you have Raid, you have Hijacked. Of course, you have Nuketown, which seems to be everybody's favorite. I'm missing another one in there. There's another map in here that's driving me nuts I can't think of. But you can always go back and think of some really unique maps that played exceptionally well. And I don't think you're going to think of that when you think of Black Ops 3. Maybe Fringe. Maybe. I think Fringe might have been the best map of the group. But it still wasn't that great of a map. It really wasn't. Not to mention that I think the DLC maps were very poorly designed. Also on this game, lots of problems with it. I remember when Splash came out and Skyjacked, the remake of Hijacked, you had a lot of glitches, a lot of wall glitches. The developers must not have taken a lot of time to check these things out, which I think also hurt the game. And of course, to close on this review here, advanced movement. I think the advanced movement was an improvement over Advanced Warfare. The movement was a little bit slower, but still, I think once we get back to a normal Call of Duty, I think a lot of things will become much more balanced, because I think with the movement, it makes the game so much more difficult to balance because of the speed, where people are going to be on the map. And like I said, I think that makes it much more difficult to balance than if it's more of a 2D. I mean, obviously it's 3D, but more of a, you only have to look left and right, or maybe up once in a while in some of the maps. But I hope you guys enjoyed this critique of mine. I will have the other one. I'm going to try to do a double upload for you guys, but I figured I'd start off with what Call of Duty Black Ops 3 did wrong. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you next video, and Bo out.